Hey, lovelies. This is Jay Nell, the relationship coach behind The Successful Invisible, and I'm here with another episode of Ish I Saw on TikTok. If he acts like he hates you, it's not an act. Why some husbands resent their wives. Let me say this real slow so it lands. Some men don't marry women because they love them. They marry women because they're tired of dating, tired of pressure, tired of being asked, so when are you going to settle down? And instead of being honest about that, they pick a woman who feels safe, useful, and available, not a woman they actually like. And the reason this conversation makes people uncomfortable is because a lot of women are walking around confused, thinking, he's still here, so he must love me. Meanwhile, he's short-tempered. He's irritated by your presence. He acts like spending time with you is a chore. And deep down, you already know the truth. You're not imagining it. Today, we're talking about why some men marry women they secretly resent, how to spot it before you waste years of your life, and what to do before you turn into the woman who says, I stayed because I thought it would get better. This is not about blaming women. This is about seeing clearly and choosing yourself sooner.
Why do men marry women they hate? And obviously, this is not all men, but I think a lot of men end up marrying a woman who represents a life they regret choosing. And this comes in two versions. The first version is they marry the woman that represents a life they did choose, but it wasn't all it was cracked up to be. I see this most often when men say they want marriage and children, but it very much gives the same energy as a child begging for a dog. They want it so badly until the dog requires walks, structure, responsibility, and permanent life changes. He didn't want that work. He liked the idea of it, and I think that's where resentment can turn into hatred very quickly. The second version is they end up marrying the woman who represents a life they didn't choose. They committed out of fear. Fear of starting over, fear of disappointing their family and friends, their parents who want grandchildren so desperately. And so they marry the safe woman, the woman that's right in front of him when he claims he's ready, and not necessarily to the woman that he loves the most. Typically, the woman that he loves the most is the woman that got away. Obviously, not all men, but a lot. There's a quote that goes, most men live quiet lives of desperation. And I think that marriage doesn't cure desperation, it just buries it. And instead of grieving the life they didn't have the courage to build, they're looking for someone to blame. And so they tell themselves a story. She's holding me back. She's such a nay. And that's why, and ladies, I know you've all experienced this, where you're walking down the street and a man is holding hands with his wife while he is mentally undressing you with his eyes. I don't think it's about lust. I think it's about mourning the version of him that he never became, hence the midlife crisis. But what do you think?
I just saw a video of a woman who said when her father-in-law passed away, her mother-in-law found in his desk a, quote, book of resentments. In that book, he details all of the many reasons why he hated her and being married to her. And it reminds me of all the videos that we see on this app where people talk about, he acts like he hates me. He doesn't want to spend any time with me. He's always angry. He's always upset. Like all of the things that this man has shown to show you that he does not like you, but you think because he's still there, that means he loves you and that he likes you. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. A man could lay next to you and kiss you on your forehead every night and cannot stand you. He could be with you for the kids, with you for the money, with you because his mama likes you, with you because his homeboys are jealous of how pretty you are and that he bagged a baddie because you pay all the bills and he likes the way you take care of him, the way you make sure that he goes to his doctor's appointment and you make sure his clothes are clean and his kids are taken care of, the way you always cooking for him and you pack his lunch. There could be any number of reasons that man could be with you, but secretly, whether literally or metaphorically, that man could have a book of resentment with you as the topic and all the reasons why he hates you. Sometimes your boyfriend, husband, fiance, acting like they cannot stand you is not an act at all. Be honest with yourself. You know that man is not pretending. He's short-tempered. He's mean. He's cruel. You'd be ashamed if anybody heard the way that man talked to you. You'd be ashamed if anybody that you love saw the way that he treated you. That's why you don't tell them the truth. You know he's not pretending, but you're pretending you don't know that.
So I recently saw this tweet and paused to read it if you need to, but I genuinely feel that if more people, and especially women, recognized just how common this is, we would advance as a society. I'm going to hold y'all's hands when I say this, but as long as you are useful to a man, he does not have to like you in order to keep you around. You pair that with the fact that we are living through late stage capitalism, and it is not difficult to see how this dynamic is created. Because in these times, it's not always about how much money you make, but rather how much money you can save, making the free labor that women provide an invaluable asset. I mean, I don't know about you, but if I was working 8 to 12 hours a day and I had someone come around who was cooking for me for free, doing my laundry for free, cleaning my house for free, having and raising my children for free, being a therapist for free, and being intimate with me for free, dude, saving me all this money, but then contributing money to the household, allowing me to live this balanced life that I want to live. My first rather unhinged thought is that this person would have to enter witness protection just to get away from me. And my second thought is that if they were to ever leave me, I would need to get another one. But being able to take advantage of someone guilt-free without reciprocating any of that is not an act of love, it's an act of hatred. And trust me, I know it's hard to accept that men would go through the very taxing steps of getting married, and especially to someone they hate. But if you think about it in the context that I just previously explained, it starts to make sense. While horrifying and unjustifiable, it starts to make sense.
You'll never have to worry about marrying a man that hates you, just as long as you leave at the very first sign that he shows you that he hates you.
What's your secret to 53 years?
Do everything the women in your life tell you to do.
I want a new secret.
If that ain't a husband that hates his wife, I don't know what is. Men make it very apparent when they do not like you. Men make it very obvious that they are just doing the thing. For a lot of men, marriage is just them doing the thing. The reason why he asked that man, oh, well, how did you make it to, 50 some years, is because he thought that he was going to be able to meet another man here with the agreement of them choosing to do the thing. This is why back a long time ago, marriage was really, really seen as an inconvenience for men. The old ball and chain. A woman is only ball and chain to a man when he is marrying a woman that he absolutely hates. The pure disgust by hearing that husband hear from another man that the way that you have a successful marriage is you actually listen to the woman in your life because she actually is the one that can direct you. She is the one that actually can fuel you and drive you to, see out your purpose. Because that's not the reason why this man is getting married. Most men are getting married because it's the thing to do and they have a person to control. The pure disgust that he met a man and heard a man say, no, I don't have the same mindset as you, it had him in disbelief. Not to mention, if you listen clearly at the end of the video, he says, and then says he was going to say before the video cut off that he was joking. I'm going to say it time and time again. A man is never joking with you. That really was not the secret that he wanted to hear. He wanted the secret to be, you're just going to have to tolerate her. You're just going to have to not listen to her. You're just going to have to cut your ears off. She's going to annoy you. She's going to be the ball and chain. You're just going to have to tolerate her. When it comes to marriage, most men believe that they are doing you a favor by marrying you. Every time you beg a man for a ring, every time you have a conversation of, what are we? When are we getting married? When are you going to pop the question? He is taking you on as a charity case. And he essentially is getting prompted to just do the thing to shut you up. He is not doing the thing to actually do it with someone that he's happy with. Do it with someone that he honors. Do it with someone that he respects. Do not do what they do. Never see shit through. This probably was the day of their wedding. It's never too late to have an annulment.
Why do men marry women that they don't really want to marry? Okay, well, a lot of people don't chase their dream, right? Or they don't know what they want to do with their life. So we have the tendency to settle into a job that we don't want to do, or some of us don't even obtain that. We get something that's good enough, or we call ourselves doing the right thing because our dream is something that we fear or unaware of it, or is it something that we believe that we can't obtain? So you settle into this. You settle into what you know and what's easy and what's in front of you, instead of going to chase what you really want. Or when you get this so-called dream and you're greedy and you don't know how to be satisfied with what you have, you continue to want more. And when you want more and you continue to want more and you don't know how to be humble and you can't satisfy your own thirst, or you've never, or let's say if you experience this dream and you want to continue to chase a high, you'll never be satisfied. And the people who settle, who don't find their dreams, there's people who don't have a clue what their dream is, and they just get stuck in a job and they get stuck in a routine. Yes, a marriage becomes a job, a marriage becomes routine.
Every man has misogyny. Every man has it in him to hate women. You can be married to a man, and you can have a man as your boyfriend, and he literally fucking hates your guts. A man can be in a relationship with you and hate you and treat you right. So you would think that this guy actually loves you and you're with the love of your life, and he loves you and he gets you flowers and he does all the nice things, but he hates you. And if you don't believe me, let's watch this video together.
Your boyfriend's friends have girlfriends or wives, and you know that they discuss their wives in a nasty manner. 9 times out of 10, your boyfriend's doing the same thing. And that's unfortunately what I had to learn the hard way last night. I thought I was in a happy relationship, and then all of a sudden my world flipped over, and here we are. My boyfriend talked about me, I think the worst way that anyone's ever talked about me in my life. He dumbed down our relationship to his closest friends and his family, essentially just saying I'm just an influencer girl that he's talking to, but she's just a friend, she'll never be wifey. When just 2 days ago you're saying how obsessed you are with me, how you want me to have your babies, how you're looking for ring sizes if I can make this certain meal. On the phone every single day, on your lunch break, you're dying to see me, you're dying to come get this nanny. But not only that, he treated me with so much love that I genuinely never would have believed that he would have said these things about me. He did everything. He got flowers, he opened the door, he bought me things. He would listen to me, he understood my crazy personality. He was kind, he was patient, but all along he's been harboring resentment towards me that I had no idea about. When I tell you some of the most disgusting things he said about me or didn't defend me on, talking about me as if I was just this, as if I was his number one enemy. That's how they were talking about me. And in those moments, you would expect the person that you love about and care about so much to defend you. But he did the opposite and kept quiet. Not only kept quiet, but entertained it. Went out of his way to essentially tell people that we're not even dating. He used me. Whether he used me for his satisfaction, for his ego, I'm just sitting here and I haven't been able to process all of it. I'm not sure if he ever loved me. And the texts that I looked at were just from like the past week. We've been seeing each other every single day while these texts were being sent. And it's just like, where does he find the time? Where does he find the time? What annoys me the most is that in this relationship, he was scared of me leaving.
Told you. She literally said he was doing all the nice things. He was doing all the things that made her believe that he loved her. He was begging to spend time with her. Men are conditioned to not see women as human beings. So even when they have you in their life and they like you-ish, they don't see you as a full human being. And another thing again is that men bond on hating women. So you know the way women bond on talking about makeup and all that stuff. They bond on hating women. That's why it's a popular joke for men to hate their wives. They sit down together and talk shit about their wives over drinks. A man can like you or like spending time with you, but still talk shit about you to his friends or still feel some resentment towards you.
Sometimes your biggest hater is your husband. Let me tell you why. This woman made a video where she shared that her husband of 17 years told her that the biggest mistake he ever made was getting married to her. And she has to make peace with the fact that her husband never liked her. She was with this man for 20 years, married for 17. They have children together. They have a home together. And this man told her that the biggest mistake he ever made was getting married to her. What was even crazier was the fact that there were women in the comment section saying that they have experienced the exact same thing. So many women had similar experiences. This is an epidemic. Women are finding out that these men do not like them, but they got married to them. They had children with them. They bought homes together. They have investments together. And they never liked those women. This is one of the most diabolical things to experience. Finding out that the person you've spent over 20 years with never liked you. And he had the gall, the audacity to tell her that the biggest mistake he ever made was getting married to her. She even shared that she was jumping through hoops to get this man to see her, to value her. She tried to show interest in his hobbies. But no matter what she did, he despised her. It is heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking listening to women share their experiences with these men. It is also terrifying because you can't help but think, what could those men have done to them in those relationships? Because if you don't know that you're sleeping with the enemy, then you're probably unaware of ways this person could probably try to unalive you. There's things this person could have done to harm you. I mean, apart from the emotional torture, there's things he could have physically done to harm you. Because deep down, he cannot stand the fact that you are in his life. But he's still living with you. It is honestly scary right now to think how many women are in relationships with men that straight up hate them.
Let's jump into my favorite part of all of the content I post on YouTube. And that's just my thoughts, where I get to kind of express what I feel about whatever we have read or gone over. So let's get into it. All right, let's jump into it. Y'all know how I like to do. I like to take 5 relevant, salient points from the, TikTok stitches that you just watched and put them in perspective for you all, my beautiful audience, from the perspective of a relationship coach. So let's jump into it. Point 1. Some men marry for relief from fear, not love, and resentment follows. So understand that a significant number of men marry not because they deeply desire partnership, but because they fear loneliness. They fear aging. There's this social pressure, and they really don't want to start over after being with some woman for a number of years because she has made his life comfortable. When marriage is used as a security blanket instead of a conscious choice, resentment is often displaced onto the wife, right? So understand that a desire for marriage does not equal readiness for responsibility. Men who like the idea of marriage often resent the labor of partnership. Let me say that again. Men who like the idea of marriage often resent the labor of partnership. And know that resentment grows when a man feels trapped by a life he never fully chose. And this is the segue here. This is oftentimes why you see men who want to be the, man of the house and the only one working, and they create this situation and get their wives not to work, or marry a woman who has a low earning potential due to lack of education or whatever, and has a bunch of babies. Now he's stressed out by the very environment he created. He grows to resent that. He grows to probably be, but potentially be abusive, stays away from home a lot, flip it with money, flip it with her. And it's just not a good relationship because he is feeling trapped by a life that he feels he never fully chose, even though he did, and he grows resentful of it. So understand that you need to see this and know this. Just because a man asks you to marry him, you need to really understand, does he want you or does he want the comfort of you? It helps women to stop romanticizing he finally settled down and start assessing why he chose marriage in the first place. You can read a little bit more about this from the Gottman Institute, where they have a lot of research on resentment, contempt, and marital dissatisfaction. I highly recommend many of their blog posts and articles. And also the APA, American Psychological Association, studies on commitment, motivation, and avoidance. There's some really insightful tidbits in many of the articles I've come across. And there is a book, it's called Mating in Captivity by Esther Perel. And it talks about many things, but one of the things, purposes of this post is on regret, resentment, and unchosen lives. You will get, I think, a lot out of it if you decide to read that. Point number 2, presence is not proof of love. Utility can keep a man longer than affection. And that is why one of my dating coaching tips is be useless to a man. Stop providing utility. Okay? A man can stay physically present while emotionally disengaged if the relationship benefits him materially, socially, or domestically. That's also why I don't believe in living with men and not allowing them to live with you. If you are not married, you do not need to be commingling finances unless you're a very, very specific case, and most of us don't fall in that. Stop making it easy for that man to be lazy. Being chosen is not the same as being cherished. A lot of women have set themselves up to be indispensable in a way to a man, and then they wonder why they're treated like dog shit because you've made this man's life easy. And in truth, he knows that was never supposed to be your role, and he's resentful of it because now you've created the situation where he needs you to an extent. Don't do that. You're setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up for disrespect. Men may stay for comfort and convenience or image, and men do all those things. They do whatever makes their life easier. So stop making men's lives easy. That does not mean be a raving bitch in a negative sense and make a man's life hard. That's not what that means. But stop making a man's life easy. And if you have strong boundaries, you're not making his life easy. So providing labor, emotional regulation, or financial support, sis, we don't do that over here, does not guarantee love. It guarantees you're going to be used. Many women mistake consistency for care. Many women do way too damn much in relationships and they get played on the back end when they get married, right? To this man that doesn't like them. This builds clarity because you need to really understand this so you will be disrupted from the belief that if he's still here, he must love me. No, he don't. He's there because it's convenient. That keeps women tolerating emotional neglect or hostility and sometimes abuse. Some places that you all need to check out if you don't really believe just what I'm saying is the National Domestic Violence Hotline. They have a lot of good content on their website about emotional abuse and coercive control patterns. So there's a sociologist, Arlie Hochschild, has a lot of research on emotional labor in heterosexual relationships, and I definitely want women to understand that. And the Journal of Marriage and Family, I have my opinions on that, but in this particular case, there's some studies on unequal emotional labor and marital satisfaction that I think you all should check out. Point number 3, chronic contempt and stonewalling are not communication issues, they're danger signs. Disrespect, silence, irritability, and contempt are not normal stress responses. They are predictors of relationship failure and in some cases escalation into abuse. Understand that stonewalling is a form of emotional withdrawal and punishment. A man is stonewalling to punish you, like a child giving you the silent treatment. You are the mean mommy that this man is now projecting that relationship, that dynamic onto. Do not tolerate a man who stonewalls. Actually walk away from him. Contempt is the strongest predictor of divorce, and men who like you don't treat you with disdain. If that man acts like he hates you, he does. It's not pretend. If he's real slick at the mouth with the insults and trying to humiliate you, it's not on accident. It's intentional. You keep making excuses in your head. You need to stop. You need to build your confidence so you can give yourself permission to trust what your experiences are teaching you and showing you, not what you're being told. Because he can be slick at the mouth and humiliate you out in public, then it's, oh, baby, I'm sorry, I'm behind closed doors. Believe what he does when he does it. Do not accept apologies for that type of behavior. We too grown for that. And if he doesn't know how to communicate effectively or say, hey, I'm challenged in this, maybe we should go to counseling. He just doesn't like you and is going to disrespect you because he thinks he can. Okay? And that's not acceptable. And that can lead to some very detrimental and or deadly instances. Point number 4, misogyny allows men to love benefits while resenting women. Yes, because we live in a misogynistic white patriarchal society. So misogyny allows men to just think of women as a resource. A man can desire women, rely on women, and still fundamentally resent women, like many of the incels. Perfect example. A lot of those men still depend on women, live with their mothers, live with their parents, and they hate women. Misogyny doesn't always look like hatred. It often looks like entitlement, dehumanization, and emotional indifference. Men may bond socially by demeaning women, and that is something you need to watch out for. Watch how a man talks to his friends about women. Watch what he says to you about women, his ex, any women. Because men, because we live in a patriarchal, misogynistic society, often bond over hating their girlfriends and wives. If you've ever worked in a corporate environment, if you've ever worked, period, but especially if you've worked in a corporate environment, you've heard this. If you've worked in a blue collar environment, I know there's men that are surprised sometimes at first when they hear this. Men bond over hating women. So be very, very mindful and in tune, and ask questions too about how a man talks about women to other men. Public affection does not negate private disrespect, right? And vice versa. A man who jokes about hating women often means it, because I don't joke about hating anything. Hate is nothing to joke about. So if somebody is joking about something very serious, harming women, hating women, harming children, disrespecting people of different social classes, races, colors, and creeds, that's not a joke. He is just seeing what flies. He is just testing you. This is where having firm boundaries comes in, and you need to nip that shit in the bud. And you say, I don't play that over here, and walk away. Understand that you need this clarity, because you need to stop personalizing mistreatment and recognize systemic conditioning at play. And also, the reality is men are very easily led and brainwashed. That's how a lot of grown, able-bodied men have been brainwashed into some very extreme ideologies. In 2026, you have some pretty extreme religious ideologies at play here. And, people have lost relationships with their fathers and brothers because they were grown to raise and to respect people, and now they hate everybody brown and black and all that, because of men are very easily led by popular hateful rhetoric, because a lot of men don't want to dismantle the patriarchy. What they want to do is they want to have somebody to punch down upon, period. And you need to really recognize who you're dealing with and see if he is that easily manipulated, or if he is the type of man who will use critical thinking skills and filter what's coming in as well, right? So the misogyny is at play because we live in a system built on it, but you need to be very aware of what the man or the men you're dating are about and how they move. Some resources I think you'll find helpful are The Will to Change by Bell Hooks. Masculinity and misogyny are heavily discussed in that. The Pew Research Center has a lot of, studies and things out about gender attitudes and relationship expectations. And the American Psychological Association has some great articles about gender socialization and emotional suppression in men. All right, point number 5. Leaving early is safer than staying hopeful. Self-improvement is protection, not punishment. The most reliable way to avoid marrying a man who hates you is to leave at the first consistent sign of disrespect and invest in your own standards, stability, and self-trust. Understand you cannot love resentment out of a person. If a person hates you, resentment is deep, because resentment is not surface level. It is a deep-rooted hatred of you for some reason. And it's not a reason that probably has anything to specifically do with you. It has the deep-rooted reason a lot of times has to do with how something you're presenting makes that person feel. They're responsible for their own emotions. Self-improvement increases options, not obligation, and a healthy partner does not require you to earn basic respect. Walking away is strength and not failure, and you need to center your own agency and right to choose versus staying in a situation that's unsafe. So when I say the first consistent sign of disrespect, I don't deal with any man who makes crude jokes about women. Okay. I'm too old for that, and I usually date men older than me. So if you're doing that, I'm out at the first sign, because why are you still there? And a lot of times men will do things that seem out of character, especially in the beginning, because they're testing your boundaries. Walk away. Do not let him pass go or collect $200. I don't think a lot of times when someone's doing that at the early stages, it's worth giving them a second chance, because why are they showing their ass this early? You know what I mean? They're trying to get you comfortable with the disrespect. If he says anything disparaging about your looks, walk away. especially when it has to do with your weight, your skin color, especially with black men. A lot of colorism is, very prevalent in the black community. But your weight, your color, your hair texture, your feature, anything like that, anything that is a reflection of his own self-loathing, walk away. It's not a joke. He meant it. And a lot of women need to take men at their word the first time. And when you do, you will be surprised at how quickly you weed out potentially unsafe situations and potentially unsafe men, because you never allowed it to progress to that point. Because I'm very mindful of the things that come out of my mouth. I have a total expectation and boundary that I expect only good and positive and thoughtful things to come out of a man's mouth. So if he's not returning what you are giving in that sense, walk away. So I hope these, points helped you. Let me know if you've ever been in a relationship where you felt your partner didn't like you, actually hated you, and was just there because you made it comfortable. If you've ever been in that situation, how did you get out of it? And what did you learn from it? Leave your comments below. Thank you for joining me for today's episode of Ish I Saw on TikTok. If he acts like he hates you, it's not an act. Why some husbands resent their wives. I want to leave you with this. You don't need to become quieter, smaller, or more understanding, or to be loved properly. You don't need to earn kindness by overfunctioning, by being useful, agreeable, or endlessly patient. And you are not asking for too much by wanting a partner who actually likes you, respects you, and enjoys your presence. If this video helped you see something more clearly, not in a dramatic way, but in a grounded, that makes sense way, that clarity is something you can build on. Inside my coffee coaching community, I walk women through the inner work that makes dating feel calmer and more intentional again, with guided journaling, pattern spotting exercises, and practical coaching that helps you stop confusing tolerance with love. There's a free blog post waiting for you, and if you're ready to go deeper, the paid resources help you strengthen your standards, trust your instincts, and choose differently without bitterness or fear. No pressure, no rushing. Just support for women who are done pretending they don't see what they see. The link is there when you're ready.